Hi and welcome to my favourite tree of the UAE. And on this session, we're going to be talking about the Delonix regia, the flame tree. And the flame tree has recently caused a big stir in Dubai, and the local authorities and the municipality have adopted the flame tree as their sort of theme tree for Dubai, which I think is an excellent choice. So congratulations to the Alpha team. The tree is originally from Madagascar. It's not native to the UAE, but it does thrive here. I've had a lot of experience planting them in Hong Kong and southern China, and sometimes in Macau. The tree itself is fairly long-lived. It will grow well over to be 100 and 150 years old. But it does have buttress roots, and the roots are long spreading, so do allow space. I think the flame tree that we're taking photos of now is relatively young. Again, it's in Al Marjan Island. The reclamation was topped off about 15 years ago. So the tree is, I don't know, 25, 30 years old, something like that. The blossoms on these trees can be magnificent. The red flowers are really fantastic, and in many ways they are on par with the cherry blossoms, the Prunus cerullatus in Japan, which people travel all the world over to see. They get better with age. I would definitely say that. The photos I'll be showing a little bit later are some from Hong Kong, which were planted in the 1980s in the new town development of Tuen Mun. And when they kick off, when they flower, all the local residents go out into the park and take photos and selfies and group photos. And even tourists who are interested in trees will stop by Tuen Mun Town Park to see the flowers. The only difference between the UAE and Hong Kong, of course, is the climate. And the trees in the UAE tend to be evergreen, and they tend to flower with leaves, whereas the ones in Hong Kong tend to be deciduous, but they flower without leaves, roughly in March and April. The ones here tend to flower from, I don't know, April through to June, July. They're beginning to lose their flowers now, but they have been magnificent this year. The trees do need irrigation, so 80 litres per tree is fairly standard. Perhaps reducing to 50 litres a tree in the winter months. And in terms of spacing and size, I would recommend that the trees are planted at around 7 to 8 metre centres. They will grow tall, they do spread. I also think the stem needs to have at least a 3.5 metre clearance if it's right next to the roadside to avoid trucks and buses. They need a lot of maintenance. Well, I say a lot. I mean, I've seen them being pruned here 2 or 3 times a year. In fact, they're pruning them at the moment. So as a species, it does collect some dead wood, but it's not astronomical. It's a great choice of tree. I think the Dubai municipality has chosen a cracker of a species, and I'm sure the general public will love it, as will the tourists, visitors. to Dubai. And we've also got a lot of them down in here in Ras Al Khaimah, and have planted a lot of these trees in our new development on Al Marjan Island, which I mentioned before. And our Dilonyx regia came from Guangdong province. It's quite big trees, so it's 6 meters, 7 meters in height. And they came over in the winter, so they had no leaves, and they suddenly changed climate zone. And we wondered how they would react, and they've done really well. So they're all now in full leaf, and they are flowering. So that's good news. And yeah, I'd just like everybody to understand again that the key to the success of these trees, like the palm trees, is the bigger the root ball, the more success you're going to have. If they're open ground, you should really be looking at a 3-stage extraction program. So that's about 4 months. You cut off a third of the tree roots, and another 4 months you cut off the next third, and then the final 2 sections of roots are cut off after that period. That allows fibrous roots to grow where you've made the cut, and the tree doesn't get too shocked. The tree can then be lifted, and I would suggest on a Dilonyx at least 8 times DBH. So, 8 times the root ball, or the root plate as the Americans call it, should be 8 times the diameter of the tree trunk at 1.3 meters. So that gives you an idea of how big these trees are, and they need a lot of careful consideration when planting and transportation. To date, we've imported, I think, well over 300 of these Dilonyx from farms in Guangdong. They take a month on a container ship to get to the UAE. They're then taken to our nursery. The nursery grows them on. They are pruned. They're given some TLC, and then they come to the site, and they look great, and they seem to be doing very well indeed. So I will leave you now with some photographs of the Dilonyx. I think we'll start with the Dilonyx on the boulevard to the Al Marjan Island and the Al Hamra district. Yeah, I mean, some of these trees are not in flower anymore, but you can get an impression of what they'd be like, because some of them still are flowering. And then after that, I'd just like to pop up a few photographs of the Dilonyx that I took when I was working in Hong Kong, and these were in Tunman Park. So I hope you enjoy that, and thank you again for watching.